an autocorrect to me. Is that enough wine? You think? You think that'll help? That'll help. That'll
That
help.
I mean, you know what? That bottle's definitely ready for recycling.
Yep, that's true. I do recycle. I like to keep the planet safe.
Exactly. I mean, look, that's not going to take up space in the fridge anymore.
Good point.
So,
Good point.
net positive, right? This kind of management can become very important depending on, how much food you have to store.
I drink wine to save the environment.
Right. I mean, this is the best reason. Yeah. So, what's up? What's going on, Melissa? Okay. Hold on. What do I want to ask you here? All right. So, number one, Robe man, you decided I have this robe. It's got fur on the inside. Let's make this the whole thing.
You want to talk about my robe? As you can see, my robe is it's pretty much plush.
Nice.
I call this a hedgehog. Maybe I don't know what exact fur this is, but it's very beautiful. It's very, very luscious.
Nice.
Only the best for me. Me and my wife have matching robes. We like to walk around the house in robes, and I decided to do this Twitch thing. And a lot of us guys, we walk around the house in robes and we like to be comfortable. And I figured, you know what? Let me take this chill vibe. Let me bring it onto Twitch, and it allows me to have some controversial takes. Where I can put the sunglasses on, have the robe on, without my employer being involved. You know what I mean? If anybody wants to, I don't want people to be able to know my true identity, because sometimes I have some takes that are going to get me canceled in today's day and age.
Okay. Yeah. Also, I mean, I guess it gives you the freedom, to, like on the hippy dippy, right? Like at some point, someone had to be the heel on this panel, because everyone was going to be like freaking pro weed. Okay, this whole website full of ADHD stoners. Right? Okay, are clearly going to be pro weed, right? So someone has to be the heel. But how do you, you create a persona so you can be the character that people need, right? I mean, without, anyways. I feel like it's really difficult. It's really difficult to like legitimately be some kind of man-child when you have like a life.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I like to go onto these panels, and a lot of my views are my own views. I don't want to say I'm playing a character. The only reason I wear the robe is more for like a to shield my identity, almost like a Spider-Man, Superman. I consider myself a superhero robe man. I just want that so I can live my own personal life. And the reason I do that is I want to be able to have these takes that I have. But on Twitch, it's a very leftist environment. You're going to run into a lot. Every time I go on a panel, I'm getting pretty much 1 verse 8, 1 verse 9. People coming at me, yelling, screaming, calling me racist, misogynistic, sexist, all this stuff. I am not any of these things, but it's interesting to see how Twitch is very leftist. It's very liberal, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just trying to be a conservative voice on the Twitch atmosphere.
Okay, and you think you could get legitimately canceled for just being a conservative?
No, I don't think I can get legitimately canceled. I just think that some of my takes I have, like for example, I don't want to say I'm anti-vaccine, but I have some problems with the vaccine, and that really gets people riled up. A lot of times when I go on panels, people come at me about the vaccine, and they label me with these labels, basically that I'm an anti-vaxxer, that Bill Gates, I think Bill Gates is putting microchips in the vaccine and stuff like that. And that's not what I think. But what ends up happening is they label me with these labels that they've heard from their friends or whatever. What I've come to realize is that words are very powerful. Like a word is a symbol. And what happens is people take these words, like you say the word anti-vaxxer, right? You personally might have a idea in your mind of what an anti-vaxxer is, right?
Okay.
You might think, oh, this guy, whatever you want to say, he thinks 5G, he thinks flat Earth, all this stuff. And people, the media itself, people themselves, they hear these words and they immediately have a figure in front of them that they are portraying as an anti-vaxxer. You know what I mean? So it's like, as I do these panels, I realize I'm not even arguing with liberals, not just liberals. I'm not even arguing with people about my beliefs. I have to argue with people where they're arguing not at me. They're also arguing with the guy that...
with everyone they think you are.
Exactly.
Yeah. I actually, I guess it's one of the reasons I guess I'm on panels. I'll label myself a conservative. What I am, honestly attributing a label for me is preposterous. Okay, but I'll label conservative because I don't know. Honestly, and I was just saying this yesterday, it kind of filters out everyone who like already jumps like, okay, I don't have to know anything about what this guy's saying. Okay, all I know is that he's taken that team label, and now I can attribute things. Okay, and they start going off, and you see the fucking sirens going off based on nothing you've said, and I'm like, okay, I know this person is just stay away from them. Stay away from them. They choose to live in a fucking alternate reality. Okay, where you don't have to talk to people before you know exactly what they're about. And you can see them. It's like, oh, so you believe this, you believe that. It's like, when did I say this?
Yes, exactly.
When did I say any of this? When did because I don't remember thinking it, right? So how did I say it?
For example, I was on a panel last night with a bunch of people, and it was me. There was one other conservative on the panel as well, but it was me against about 8 other liberals, and all I said, my only argument was, I don't think that the vaccine should be mandated federally, like by the federal government. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
If you want to get a vaccine, that's fine.
I have the same opinion.
Yeah, and if you want to get a vaccine, that's fine. I'm not one of these guys that says it's got microchips in it. Like, do what you want to do. But once I say that, it's interesting to see how a lot of these people will come at me and say, "Oh, well, you're killing people. You don't want mass mandates." And it's like we were talking about. They're arguing against someone that doesn't exist at me. Like, I'm not saying these things, but I hate having arguments on Twitch sometimes because it's so like fake. Like they don't even listen to you. They just like, oh, I got a conservative. Now I'm gonna go at him for all these talking points I've been listening to.
Well, that's what a lot of people are selling, right? They're selling the catharsis, the Schadenfreude, right? Of basically, you can see it in the titles, like debating conservative. That's all you really need in the title. Like there's no nuance there. There's no nothing. Right, so all you have to do is attribute that label, and it's like, all right, yay! I have someone that I can attempt to dunk on and project, strength to my audience, which is really what they're looking for. I mean, I want to. I guess the first impulse is say, look, these disingenuous performative assholes, but at the same time, it's like that's what people are buying. That's what people are tuning into. So what do you want? Especially for a lot of people who are trying to make a living on this thing. Like, what are you supposed to do? I have to sell what people are buying, And
I think people are living in. I think we all are living in a world where it's echo chambers, and we find ourselves in different verticalities. You know what I mean? Where it's like you have your news source, and everybody agrees with what you say. And for me personally, about 3 months ago, I decided, I've been watching Twitch streams. Excuse me. Twitch is very liberal. I was like, let me go on these Twitch streams and let me have arguments, because throughout my whole life, I've liked to have arguments. I've liked to argue with people and ask them, if me and you can have an argument, we can come to a middle point. And I'm not trying to have an argument to say, oh, I'm going to beat you down. I just want to hear what you have to say, because maybe you might say something that I haven't thought of, you know what I mean? And that's why I like to go on to these liberal panels, because for all the goofballs who are just spouting talking points from the mainstream media that they're hearing, there are some good liberals who will challenge me on my ideas, and I like to be challenged on my ideas, and I like to say, okay, you know what? I haven't thought about what you said. Let me think about that, and let me actually form a good opinion, because what happens is a lot of people want to shut down conversation, and when you shut down conversation, you cannot get to the root of the issue. And if you can't get to the root of the issue, you can't have that conversation. We're never going to come together as a society. You know what I mean?
I find the panels, especially the Twitch panels, are not good for this kind of discourse. That's not what they want. I mean, or that's not what's popular on these things, right? They're looking for discord and emotions and stuff. I find these 1v1 where max 4 people. Is the only way to get any kind of meaningful conversation. Hey, what's going on, Vittoria? Nice to see you. is the only way to get any kind of meaningful conversation. That's why I've had being labeled a conservative, whatever the fuck that means. I've had a lot of very, very left-leaning people on this show. We don't really seem to, even when we disagree, it's more like it's a change of approach. We have the same goals, right? The same goals. I just think my approach is different, and there's no really like conflict or anything like that. It's all very chill, which is why I probably have very low ratings on this because there's no conflict to be had here. But,
no, it's true. It's true. If you go to the right or to the left hard, you're gonna get more viewers. But I'm the type of person where I'm not doing this for the money. I'm not doing this for like to try to get like a bunch of views. Like I just want to have a conversation. And I think Twitch and Discord, these technologies are allowing us, like me and you right now, we could not have this conversation. This is a cool thing.
I've never met you.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can see you, you can see me. We can have this conversation, and we can get a different opinion from someone who lives in a completely different environment. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's a great thing to have.
Yeah, actually, I'll tell you, a lot of opinions that I've appreciated that have actually changed my perspective come from a lot of, I guess, what you would call radical left-leaning positions. Not that I can really do anything about them, but that's not true. Actually, at some point they get folded into my thinking, but they've been actually the points of most change on my end. I'm gonna let you go for like 10 seconds. I gotta go open this garage door. Yeah. Okay, and then I have something to ask you.
Okay. I guess I'll plug my stuff here. So Robe Man, I'm on Twitch. If you want to check me out, twitch.tv/RobeMan. I play games with viewers. Me and my buddies, we have a Sypho Studios. We're taking over the world basically.
Yeah. Victoria Becker in my chat says, "What a beautiful robe."
Thank you.
Indeed, it is. Is this something? Did you steal this from a hotel or?
No, actually, I got this as a gift from my mother-in-law.
Okay.
She bought me this robe, me and my wife, and it just happened. I put it on, and about 4 years ago, I wanted to go on Twitch, and I figured, I don't know, it just happened. Robe Man. That's what happened.
There's only one place I'm going to wear this robe, and that's inside this room.
That's right.
You might as well do something with it. Do you? So you said you're not in this for the money. I assume you're working and make a fairly decent living.
Yeah. So me personally, I own food trucks.
Okay, there you go.
I have food trucks. I basically cook food all day. Right now is my slow season, so I'm really grinding hard on Twitch. I'm in Massachusetts, so it's winter out. There's not really a need for food trucks in the winter, so I'm just hanging out. But basically, yeah, I just like drive around, sell food. I've been doing that for about 7 years now, and that's what I do.
Okay, yeah. So this I guess a labor of love, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm the same here. Honestly, it's just I'm incredibly busy. I have 4 kids. I work somewhat. I work part-time, but still make actually a really good living out of the part-time work. And but mostly I take care of managing, a wife and 4 kids and our projects. Food co-op with several other people. We have a bit of land together. We're trying to become food independent as a long-term goal. But anyway, so I got projects to manage, but it's stressful, right? You like it, it's fulfilling, but it takes a toll on you. I have severe ADHD, so I don't know. Emotions are something that I need to manage, and one of the things to keep me happy is just do something you enjoy. Do something you enjoy, do something that makes you happy. And I come out here, I have a joint for about an hour, I relax. I talk to some stranger about some bullshit, all right, and it calms me down. It gives me a thing. So that's kind of I guess this is therapeutic for me. But I figured, since I'm in here talking to strangers for an hour, having this joint, I might as well make the most of it.
Yeah, man.
And this is the work in progress that results from that.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So you have 4 kids, and congratulations on that. I'm hopefully I'm gonna have kids in the future.
Okay.
How do you see the future for your children in today's society? Are you I don't want to say afraid. Like I feel like the future is, because me as a I'm 31 years old. Me and my wife were talking about having kids, and my main concern is I think society in general is very divided. Even with the schools, with everything, I'm very afraid of what my children that I hope to have are going to be coming into.
My girlfriend got pregnant when I was 22.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't planned. She was against abortion, and that's it. We've been together now for like 21 years. So
Congratulations.
So somewhere it worked out. Not without struggle and sacrifice. But so I guess this anxiety about the future never really figured into our child rearing activities. However, I still see the news and see the environment that we're growing up in, and for me it seems like, look, even in that future, there are going to be people who are grinding. There are going to be entrepreneurs who are making their way, finding opportunities to thrive in this world. And it's like, it's up to me to give them the tools that have helped me do that. But also give them the tools to find out how to craft better tools to this end. Right. And that's it. I can't. I don't know what the future is going to hold. My kids, they're older now. They're teenagers. One of them turned 18 today, and they are formidable, intelligent, talented people. I honestly think they'll do fine. I don't know how certain or uncertain the future is, right? I certainly, my plan for them is not to so they get a nice job and meet a nice person, right? And get a house and this and that. They can do whatever they want with it. But I think teaching them the skills to handle themselves and deal with the uncertainty of the world is the best I can do. And I think it's the best anybody could do, no matter what they think their plans are. It's a little absurd. You don't know what the future is going to hold, and you don't know what your kids are going to be like. Honestly, they'll surprise you. Having people, having three of them go through their teenage years right now, it surprises me the directions that they take it in. I never saw these things coming, but it's them, right? It's kind of amazing, actually.
So I don't want to sit here and interview you, but you having kids is very interesting to me because I'm on the verge of having children.
Sure.
And my question to you is, technology is very prevalent in today's society, right? Mm. So how do you manage, as a parent, technology? You have the iPad, you have the cell phone. How do you manage technology for children? Because there's one type of parent who mm-hmm. puts their kid in front of an iPad and mm-hmm. they just watch the screen all day, which I'm not saying it's good or bad. And then there's another type of parent who doesn't give their kid a cell phone until they're, 13 years old. So how do you manage that?
I'm of the don't give your kid a cell phone until they're 13 years old variety.
Okay.
And there is an iPad. It's shitty. Okay. I use it to play Spotify in the house. That's about it. Okay. Sometimes we use it when, if we can't get the kid babysat or something like that, because it's like a whole family, even with 3 babysitters, right? I still have a 6-year-old. But if we can't get him babysat, then he'll just sit there and watch one of his shows. He does watch TV sometimes. But I play a lot of sports with him in the backyard. I teach him karate. We play board games. We just played Catan Junior last night, right? And he loves Legos. So we can build. There's a ton of things that you can do that are non-screen related, okay? And then there's a ton of time where the kid just needs to fuck off and do his own thing. Yep. That's another thing. It's as much as people don't want to ignore them and let them watch TV. At one point, they need to fuck off and do their own thing, right? And if he watches fucking cartoons or whatever, it's fine. This is still a smart kid. I'm not here to optimize his fucking intelligence. His intelligence must be perfectly streamlined so this guy can be like a super genius artist athlete, okay, at all times. and that's it. The kid's pretty smart, so because I do a whole bunch of stuff with him, but for the rest of the time, he can fuck off. He can watch the stupid cartoons or whatever. He's fucking 6, right? But I don't get them a cell phone until they're until they're basically in junior high. And the only reason we got them a cell phone, we got the older kids a cell phone at that age, is because we need to fucking coordinate with them. Where are you? Where are you going to be? Stuff like that. They want to go out and stuff. And that's really when they get the cell phone, when they start having those kind of appointments.
So my concern for me when I have children is, I have a kid, let's say he's, he or she is in second, third grade, and technology is prevalent in today's society. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when I was a kid, I played a lot of video games. I was on the computer. I did a lot of things that were considered, at the time, a waste of time. You know what I mean? Like sitting on the computer, staring at a screen. But,
sure. And now people make a great living doing that stuff on Twitch.
Exactly. So my question is, as a parent, when you look at a kid, let's say and every kid's different, but let's say you have a kid who is, he's really into games or he's really into the computer. Mm-hmm. Do you look at it as like a negative that he is so into the computer? Because today's society is very computer based, you know what I mean? Like everything is on the computer, everything is very technological. So like, do you support him and say, yeah, go ahead, like do everything you can on the computer, learn all about it? Or do you want him to live in the real world? You know what I mean?
I'd rather he live in the real world. This is a little difficult with COVID, honestly. Yeah. Especially, I mean, he's been in COVID for like what, the end of 3, 4, and 5. Or no, 4 and 5 basically. So that's it. There's not a lot to do, especially in the winter. But anyways, I'll tell you one thing. One thing I do with my kid is I play video games with him. I play video games that are actually a lot of like Lego whatever the fuck, Avengers or whatever, because it's 2-player, it's cooperative. We can play. It's our hangout time together, right? Sometimes I worry that. And that is too much. Like he's become like he likes the thing, right? He likes can we play video games? Can I watch my show? And you just tell him, sometimes it's yes and sometimes it's no, right? And even then, at one point I'd gotten to the habit of playing with video games with him before bed. Probably not the best idea, right? But whatever. It was our little routine. He didn't give me a fuss about going to bed. But we realized, okay, every night, and now he needs it and stuff. He's starting to get a little weird, right? And so we just stopped after a while, and I started playing more board games, reading, I still read a book with them every night. It's like there's things you can do. Clearly they're going to interface with technology. It's a technological world. It's a tool they're going to use and stuff. Okay, I wouldn't say push them, get all into that, right? But I mean, I don't think it's wrong to expose them to it. But make sure it's balanced out by stuff that you're doing, and I'm not, and there's no standard to that. Like, you got to do like one activity a night. You'll know. You know what? I looked back on this week. I spent some good time doing some fun, games where he learns stuff 4 or 5 times a week or something. It's good. Mom probably did some stuff. It's good. It's good enough.
See, for me, it's like, I have a again, I'm not a parent. I'm not dealing with this, but I'm thinking about this. Me and my wife, we're in the process of planning to have children, and the thing that I deal with is, do I push the child towards the technology, because technology is very prevalent in our society today, and it's only gonna get more prevalent. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, do I want to? Because I'm picturing like a scenario where my child is in 2nd grade, and that's, if I had a kid now, that's about 7 years from now. Mm-hmm. Technology is going to be so much in their life, like the cell phone, like everything. Even these schools are going to be technological. So do I want them to be ahead of the curve? Do I want them to be able to, like, I know how to use the iPad, I know how to use all these technological things? Or do I want them to live in the natural world? And I see where you're coming from, where you want to like have a balance almost. I think that's what you're doing, is like having a balance with your children, and I think that's a good thing. But I just feel like the society in general is going more towards a technological revolution. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'd push them more to live in the real world. To be honest, the stakes are real in the real world. That's a good environment for the kids to get adapted to. And the other thing is that as far as the technology goes, technology is made to be easy, right?
Mhm.
It's made to be addictive. Okay.
Yeah.
The learning curve to using technology when you're interested in it is so fast. You don't have to do anything for your kid. Okay, they'll do it themselves. Okay, this friend look at that, this friend look at that. I mean, Christ, it takes people 4 years to learn a whole university discipline. Trust me, using a fucking iPad, a kid will pick it up pretty fast. So I wouldn't worry about you having to give him a technological education. What I would worry about, though, okay, is giving him, I guess, a media regulation, the skills and habits. Not only in like quantity and what they're watching, but also one thing we never did in this house is we never censored the internet. There's a lot of weird stuff out there and stuff like that, but and I'm not saying you should do this, but here's my experience with it, right? Is that we never censored the internet, and they had the breadth of the internet of available to them, but we also that got accompanied with an attitude of not shaming the kids for looking at something or for talking about something or for bringing up something, so that they're comfortable coming and talking to us about it, right? So I don't tell them no, never do that. It's like, first of all, there's not a lot of taboos for here in this house, so there's that. But it's more of like, okay, you saw this, well, how did that make you feel? What do you think? It's like more of like being a guide to how do you deal with stuff like this, because kids they're gonna encounter some weird stuff, all right, and some stuff that they maybe shouldn't, right, and they're gonna want some advice, and it's better if you give it than some other fucking idiot kid who wants to keep it to himself.
I agree. My question to you is, so let's say they're in third grade, right? Yep. And they're surrounding students around them. They all have a cell phone. Every single kid has a cell phone, and your kid is the only kid without a cell phone. Do you see what I'm saying? Now they're an outcast.
The peer pressure. Yeah, exactly. It's like, everyone else has a cell phone. Yeah, that's a difficult one. Not because of the cell phone thing, because everyone kind of whatever. Some kids already had their cell phone, but usually around the time we give it, it's fine. It's like it's still not looked frowned upon. But yeah, after a while, certain things become like, oh well, look, if I don't have this, I'm gonna,
an outcast.
It's like, it's like difficult for me or something. And not just cell phones. I'm talking about like depending on where you send your kids to school, their clothes, all right, have to be of a certain degree for them to fit in with whatever friends they have. Okay, I mean, there's exaggerating, but sometimes it's just like, fuck, your friends had to be these kind of motherfuckers,
No, I get it, and that's the thing I struggle with is like, you want to have your child be their own person, but you don't want them to be an outcast, because as they go into the world, if they are not assimilating with the group, they're going to be bullied. They're going to be looked as an other, basically, if they don't have the same thing. Like if they're not on Instagram and every other kid is on Instagram,
right? They won't have a crew, and they'll
appear
vulnerable. They'll appear vulnerable to people who would take advantage of that. Unfortunately, it's like a human behavior quirk.
And that is the like struggle I have with children, as me and my wife talk about it, is like, how do we, because we want to have a plan, I'm a type of guy who has a plan. I like to have a goal. I like to have a plan. And when I have children, it's like, I'm looking at today's society and it's changing so fast. There's so much technology. There's so much like,
how do you plan for that?
Yeah, how do you plan? You're right. How do you plan for that? And it's hard. And as a parent, I mean, you said you had what, 4 kids?
4, yeah.
4 kids. It's like, I respect that. As a human being, I look at my parents and it's like, you see them, what they did. They had to deal with their own struggles. But I think today's parents in 2022 have a whole different environment to deal with. It's such a hard environment to deal with, because where do you push your kid? you don't want them to be a hermit who sits at home and plays video games all day. But at the same time, you don't want them to not know the technology that is important in today's society. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. I mean, truth is, you won't really. I mean, you'll have a hand in it, but I don't think you can intentionally. Intentionally determine what kind of kid your kid's going to be, right? You might bring them out to do all the things, but whatever, the fucking video game captured his attention, okay, yeah. and he got into it, okay, and it's like, and it becomes a point where it's like, okay, well, he still enjoys going out there and seeing the world, right? But fuck, man, the kid's in some state of euphoria when he's playing this fucking video game or whatever the fuck his thing is about. Right, his or her thing. I'm using the royal his.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Just for me, planning like what kind of kid your kid's gonna be. Let's say it just didn't work out. Kids turned out wonderful, but man, the things that they turn into just comes out of nowhere, and it's surprising and it's amazing. But it was completely unexpected and unintended,
Well, I just want to say cheers.
Absolutely.
You seem like a good dad. You seem like you know what you're doing. You seem like you have your shit together, and I appreciate that you are. Yeah, good for you. Good for you for putting the best foot forward. You know what I mean? Like you seem like you're trying hard, man, and I appreciate that. And that's what's important in today's age.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. I care. I genuinely care, and it's not like an ego thing. It's just like I got. Okay, whatever. Yeah, fuck it. This could be my interview. Fuck it. I got. I got some formidable like individuals here. They're fucking talented. They're fucking smart, right? And it's like, what do you do with them, right? They're also think about this with your kids, right? They're going to be adults in your life much longer than they'll be children in your life, right?
True.
And you have a chance to basically forge people that could potentially be in your life forever, or as long as you live. And and that's it. It's like we're just custodians of these little adults they're going to be. So
what I find is that like me and my father, I'm the oldest brother I have 5 brothers below. So I'm the oldest, and I set an example for all my younger brothers. So it's almost like I'm not gonna say I'm a father figure to my brothers, but I'm like a example setter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like my father, he had a restaurant empire. Basically, he did restaurants. He did a whole thing. I watched him succeed. But with that, he didn't have a lot of love. You know what I mean? Like not to say he was a bad dad, but he didn't give the love. You know what I mean?
Sure.
He was grinding. He was doing what he had to do, and I appreciate him for that.
It captured his attention. He was on a mission, and unfortunately, there's only so much bandwidth the person has.
Yep.
Right.
And as I get older, I see what he did, and as a man, I can understand that you were grinding, you were doing your thing, you were working hard, and you provided for this family. So me as an older brother, my younger brothers, they want that. A lot, not all of them, but a lot of them want that emotional attachment. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I have to be the connection to say, hey, listen, guys, like our dad grinded so hard so you could have the type of life that you're living. Right. You need to understand that he did what he did, not because he was like cold and callous. Yeah. He did what he did because in his life at the time he was living in, that society basically said you need to provide for your family, and that's what he did. So he did a good job. So it's like I'm happy that I can be that connection between like a father and a brother. You know what I mean? To say like this is a good father that has done what he has to do, and like it's so. I mean, I'm getting emotional here. I don't even know, but like it's so good to see like people don't understand like the times you are living in really affect how you are going to live your life. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you're clearly a product of the environment. I don't know. Sometimes this ever happened to you? Like you think, hey, you know what? What an original, quirky thing I'm into, right? And then you find like everybody's just kind of into it, and you're like, fuck this thing,
Yep.
this thing. I'm not even original anymore. Fuck it.
Yep.
I hate that shit.
That's the thing.
There must be a German word for that. There's always a good German word for stuff like that. Anyways, go on.
That's funny you say that German word. Hold on.
You know what I'm saying? These like complicated German words that mean like some specific emotional concept, and you're just like, fuck this. Fuck. Why don't we have words for that in English? God damn it.
When I was a kid, I went to Germany for summers. My aunt was in the military, and she worked in Germany. And I would go to Germany, and the Germans have, like you said, they have a word for everything. It's like there's so much more history there. You know, as an American, we have up to about 1776 is well, I guess 1600s is really American history, but to go to these other cultures and see the history and see, like you said, they have words for everything. And and we've had this, we were talking about this earlier. It's like words are very powerful. And I think as a culture, you do not have, as Americans, we take words and we put one word that has a whole,
right, it's not non-specific. It could mean a whole bunch of things.
Exactly.
And then you're subject to how that word lands in the brain of other people.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. But other cultures who are more established than us, they have words to describe very specific things. And I think as a culture evolves, they will gain this understanding to be like, we need to understand very minute details in specific things that we're talking about. And I don't think Americans have that. I think Americans just like we said, if I say anti-vaxxer, I know this is a hot button issue, but if I say anti-vaxxer, that could mean so many things. You know what I mean? Right. Like it's not one thing.
I don't. Well, I mean, I would use anti-vaxxer for a specific type, right? But I think what you're describing as yourself is a vax hesitant. You know, like okay, like I get this. Like I'll put myself in this category as well. But it's like if I get why it's doing it. I'm taking my third dose on Friday. Okay, I get why it's doing it. It works. You know what? I was really hesitant, but basically, if my kids wanted to keep going, seeing their friends at school, and still interact with urban institutions, right? Then they're going to have to get this thing. And so why am I not going to get it now, right? And it's probably fairly, very, very safe. They're very good at making vaccines that don't fucking kill you. Okay, I trust people to at least do that. But you know, there could be like weird consequences down the road. Okay, there's the expansion of there's going to be the expansion of certain powers that might never go away. It's like these kind of like elimination of certain liberties that people have, and I don't as much as I don't think that goes to a great place, right? And and that's it. I mean, there's some risks, and for whatever reason, if you don't trust the institution, you think for whatever reason, they're all valid. I don't want to dismiss anybody's thing, but if you think you have a good reason to not take it, then you should not take it, right? And except I do want people to take this COVID thing seriously. So yeah, that's it. It's just I don't think one last thing. The only thing I think that's fucked up about what people are doing is that we're really people who are vax hesitant or anti-vax, whatever you want to call them, they're really going hard, or people are really going hard to demonize them, right? Like not only are they vax hesitant for XYZ, but let's tie them in with this QAnon idea. Let's tie them in with racists and misogynists and sexists and all the ists that we hated before. Let's just add this one fucking social health button, okay, to this thing, because we know what's best for people, all right? And it doesn't matter if you fucking lie to them or bend the truth, as long as they do the right thing for their own good, according to me, and it's like, stop it. You're just a human too, and you have your own proclivities. I'm sure you think you're doing a great job, but let's face it, you're just another idiot human.
And that's the thing, is like, I have no problem with people who say the vaccine. I want to get the vaccine. That's fine. Do what you want to do. My whole argument is don't mandate me to get the vaccine. I've seen people in my life. They took the vaccine. My cousin took a vaccine. 2 hours later, he had a stroke. Okay, and it's like when I say that, a lot of people on these panels will say like, "Oh, it's an anecdotal evidence. Like you don't know what you're talking about." It's like, dude, I'm not saying the vaccine is unsafe. All I'm saying is like when the government itself mandates me to get it, why can't I have a like I don't know. It like when it comes to abortion, right? It's my body, my choice, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I agree with that. I'm a conservative, and I agree that if you want to get an abortion, go ahead and get an abortion. But at the same time, it's like if you want to have the government mandate you put a vaccine in my body, but at the same time be upset with the government for not allowing Roe versus Wade for you know what I mean? Like,
well, okay. It's just one problem is a multiplicative thing that increases your chances of dying, especially if you have like other stuff going on. It's a hard stressor on everybody's body. Okay, and if you have other things that are just like on the brink, okay, then it might aggravate them and fucking kill you, right? Or give you a really rough time. Yeah. So, and the problem is that it's the way it's not like abortion or whatever. It's multiplicative, right? Like people, it spreads very very fast, and there's no way to contain it and stop it that way. Whereas an abortion or whatever, as far as a violation, I mean, it's not the same thing. So I get that, and there's also the real concerns about healthcare systems, at least here in Quebec, the province of Canada, right? We have the province runs the healthcare essentially, and they have a problem with fucking infrastructure, right? People are, nurses are dropping out, and you're trying to avoid collapse of the entire healthcare system that people depend on. So in a way, I kind of understand, at least on a provincial level, maybe that would be acceptable, to me. But again, I hate this situation where no one has any alternative. Like, what if I just live what if I live pretty isolated? Wherever I go, I wear my mask because I take this fucking thing seriously. Okay, I just don't want one of these fucking things in me. All right, and I'll take every precaution, because I'm a good citizen. But yeah, I just don't want the thing in me. And whatever reason I have should be fucking good enough, honestly, in this society.
So my problem is, as you're seeing, you're in Canada, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Canada is mandating that people coming from U.S. have to have truckers specifically, yeah. Truck drivers have to have a vaccine to come into the country, right?
Yeah.
So, in America, I don't know about Canada, but in America, my grocery store in particular, I have a food truck. I buy a lot of food. Throughout this year, it has been hard for me to get chicken, in particular, chicken, pork, and pretty much chicken and pork in particular. Right. So, as you create these mandates, there are truck drivers who are not going to get the vaccine.
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah, there'll be workers who just don't get it, sure. Yeah.
They're just not going to get it, right? Yeah. So they're not going to get the vaccine. As you can see, it is having a big effect on our supply line. I cannot, this is me as a business, I cannot get chicken and pork. I went to the grocery store today. The shelves are getting more and more bare. I'm not saying it's gonna continue like this, but if
it's been a while since you've seen them, I've never seen this shelf empty before.
And that's what I'm saying is like, do you want to continue this route that we're going down, where you can't get the products you want because you want to have a vaccine mandate? And now, I get it. You want to protect the public. Like, I'm not saying I want everyone to get COVID and I want everyone to like have this disease. That's not what I want. But what I'm saying is, when you mandate these things, you have people who are just not going to get the vaccine. And these people, now, these medical workers who were working on the front lines for a year and a half, there was no vaccine, right?
Mm-hmm.
They fired them because they didn't get the vaccine. They called them heroes for a year and a half. They said, "Oh, you're a hero. You worked on the front lines, but all of a sudden, stop. You're a piece of garbage because you won't get the vaccine." I'm not saying the vaccine is bad, good, whatever. All I'm saying is when you mandate it to the effect that you're going to fire somebody who has helped you throughout this pandemic, it just doesn't sit well with me. You know what I mean?
I wonder how much of the, you know what, actually, I've never really thought about it from that angle. Or I wonder how much of the labor shortage is because people just don't want to get fucking forced to get a vax. I wonder how much laborers get, because here in Quebec, okay, they banned unvaxxed people, okay, from buying weed and alcohol in person. You can still order online, right? But you can't go to the government store, the only store that's allowed to sell hard liquor, and the only store that's legally allowed to sell weed, right, in person to buy your whatever while you're staying at home doing nothing because you can't go anywhere. Yeah. All right, so. And it's to put pressure on the unvaxxed people or something like that. But the workers of these places don't have to be vaccinated. They don't have to be. That's how much they need people to fucking man shit. Okay, the nurses and stuff who are treating people don't have to be vaccinated. Some of them aren't. Right? That's how badly we need people to actually fucking do shit right now. That they'll fucking straight up discriminate in the papers and everything like that, okay, about where you're allowed to spend your money, okay, but you can still give us your fucking labor.
Yeah.
Right? Because we fucking need it.
See, I live in a liberal state in America. I live in Massachusetts, and there are cities around me who are implementing a vax mandate. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what that means is if you want to go to a bar, if you want to go to an entertainment complex, if you're going to go to a gym, you have to show that you have a vaccine, right? Now, in my particular area, there was a city, it's called Northampton, and there is it's like a central hub. It's a very business centric area. There's a lot of small businesses. There's no Walmart, there's no Target, none of this. It's all very small businesses. It's like a very cool co-op area. As they've implemented these policies, you're seeing these small businesses shut down left and right. And what's happening is these small businesses are shutting down, and all we're having is Target, Walmart, Amazon. These huge companies are the only ones who are staying afloat because these health departments are shutting down small businesses, saying you cannot operate. But Walmart is considered an essential business, right? So after 2 years of the pandemic, we've been through this. I have a food truck. I was shut down for 5 months. They said you cannot operate for 5 months because of the pandemic. That's fine.
Yeah,
okay, I
get
it.
Social activity. Yeah.
Yes, that's fine. Okay, I understand. But what happens is you shut me down. You shut everybody else down. You have Walmart, Target, Amazon, all these big corporations open. Right. And now what happens is after 5 months of no business, these mom and pop shops are getting shut down. And all you have... They're not coming back, and everybody says, "Oh, well, we wanna save lives." That's fine. You can save lives, but what you're doing is you have just flattened the whole business aspect of everything that we're doing, and it's just for people.
The entire town dependent on these megacorps, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. And when you say that, people want to talk to you like, "Oh, you don't want to save lives. You don't want to do this and that." And it's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is like,
you put us into quite the fucking position with with this sequence of events. It put us in quite the fucking position.
Exactly.
You thought we were fucking dependent on fucking megacorp tip before, right? Well, you ain't seen nothing yet, because all those little local operations that might actually care about what happens in your town, okay, they're not in business anymore. They're working for megacorp because the only fucking work they were allowed to get for a while, and now we've kind of all settled into this, you know.
Look at the stock market. The stock market is at an all-time high after a pandemic. After we shut all these businesses down, you have all these specific corporations are killing it in this environment. And that's, if you want to live in that life, that's fine. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to live like that, that's fine. But don't come at me and complain that you cannot get a good job because you just shut down every mom and pop business, where the labor market itself is shutting down right now, because people are working for these big corporations and they're seeing these guys are making a bunch of money and I'm not getting anything from it. And I agree with that. I'm a business owner and I agree with the labor market saying, like, we should be getting more money. But you're not going to get more money if the only place to work is 4 places. You know what I mean?
Right. They're going to agree on what you're going to get.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, that's right. The drying up of local business and local systems. You're right. That's gonna get literally decimated, like in the truest sense of the word.
I'm seeing it happen firsthand in my community, and it's sad. I'm upset about it. I want my community to thrive, but the media is pushing this narrative of you need to shut down, and that's me personally. Like, that's my area. Go ahead.
This is exactly why I started building the food co-op. It's a good project, but it's a reason to make relationships with people around me, right? People with the resources and some skills, right? But and as a project, a collective project, how do we get off Megacorp's tit, at least for food? Okay,
good for you.
Locally, right? I mean, I know it's not easy. I know there's challenges, but I mean, unless you try and tackle it, right, and not for profit, but I mean, how do you measure your success essentially in how much you don't have to spend on food, right? And that's it. To build local systems again, because these local systems can be resilient. Or else, you're right. It's basically Walmart, Amazon. They're dictating everything, and they have so little connection with you and your people. Okay, that they'll just be like, you know what? Just come to work, make your money. Don't socialize with anybody around you. Consume through a screen. Okay, and that's what it is. We give you money, and you give it back to us. Okay, and in return, we get labor for it.
The problem is that most people do not look at a 10-year horizon. They just look at it like, okay, today I can get my grapes at Walmart for $1 cheaper, and that's great. But
go
ahead.
People have their own problems. They're working on a whole bunch of other issues, right? A complexity of issues. So sometimes, for whatever reason, this is not their priority. Right, but if it is your priority, anyways, again, the goal of this thing I'm working on, right, is how do you perfect the system that makes it local but also makes it like accessible to people, right? Because people don't have time to fuck around with their food. They'd rather just like whatever's cheaper, I guess. You know, I just need food and belly so I can go deal with my business projects or my emotional problems or my fucking death in the family or whatever the fuck else traumatic event I have going on.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like people just want the cheapest thing, but they don't see the problem with, if you go to Walmart every day, you're just gonna have Walmart. And Walmart's whole plan is, I'm gonna come into a community, I'm gonna destroy every small business around me. And yeah, they might have the cheapest shit for now, but in 20 years, when they're the only available business that you can buy shit from, now that's all there is Walmart. And they can jack the price up however they want. But people don't think in long term, they just think in the now, like you said.
The difference between saving for a house and such and trying to keep food costs down. Yeah. Sometimes, you're just trying to get the cheap grapes because you're like, I need a fucking roof over my head. I need a fucking roof overhead before I get this food even. Sometimes the choice, right? Do I get food or to get this roof over my head?
And I'm not mad at people for going for the cheaper product, but that is such a, like, they don't, like, most people don't understand that this little bit cheaper product is decimating your community.
Right. Well, that's why people who do understand need to try to find it, because it's nice complaining about it, right? But unless you have a system to replace that, whatever. Great talking to you, you know.
Yeah.
That's the reality. It's like it's people like, yeah, I hate that they're fucking us, but also, you know, where else am I going to eat?
Yeah, I get it. I get it that it's cheaper and you have shit to deal with, and like it's hard. It's hard out here. But these corporations will take a loss just to think 10 years down the line where like I'm going to be the only company around, and that's what's happening. You're watching it happen in real time.
Do you think? Do you not see a lot of localization efforts?
In my community itself, we have a lot of local co-ops that are doing good, but again, the health departments, the local governments are shutting down these small businesses, and they're keeping open the essential. Again, I say essential businesses, which are Walmart, Target, all these other things. And this is what I argue with a lot of people is like, let's keep these businesses open. And they say, oh, you want to keep the businesses open, you want to kill people. It's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you want to keep these small businesses open who are a staple of your community, you have to continue to keep them open. You cannot have these COVID measures where only Walmart and Target is open. And when I say these arguments, people label me as I'm trying to kill old people. I'm trying to kill people. Like, it's like, no, that's not what I'm saying, dude. All I'm saying is that I want this.
How do we maintain a local infrastructure?
Yeah, the local infrastructure is what's keeping the local guy alive, man, and nobody wants to think about that. They just like you said.
Yeah, they see the data and numbers, and it's like, I have mathematically calculated the correct course of action, and must optimize it now for this. Let's make the metric saving lives. There you go. Fuck everything else and fuck the future. Yeah. Saving lives.
My wife and my mother are teachers, and the social effects on these small children from 3 to 6 years old are very apparent. They're telling me like my mother has worked in childcare for 20 years, and she's telling me the effect that these mask mandates and the regiment that these kids are under these mandates. I'm not saying like, yeah, we have to protect people. I get it. I understand, but you have to have another side of it where there's suicides happening. There's a guy who hung himself from a bridge today in my community over these COVID mandates. Like, he's like these things are happening and nobody wants to talk about it. They just want to talk about, oh, we saved someone from COVID. It's like, yeah, I get it. COVID's a real thing, but can we talk about the other aspect of what we're doing to the community? No one wants to talk about it.
Fuck. I had a great question to answer, and I forgot it. Unbelievable. I hate this. I hate this fucking ADHD. I can't medicate myself at this hour. I have these fucking, oh man, I want to ask him this question. Then to let you finish your sentence, and before I know it, it's gone. I'm like, fuck me, man. I wish I had a notepad.
I'm with you there.
Oh, children are getting really depressed. It's terrible. That's going to be some other issues. Yeah, we've optimized it for the saving lives metric, and it's like, yeah, you're forgetting everything else. That's like, it's like, yeah, it's a bit like your dad, right? He optimized his life, okay, for his work, okay, to get because in his mind that was his role. If I optimize for this metric, money getting made, okay, then they'll have everything they need to, live and survive and do everything, right? And in optimizing for that, maybe he did a great job of that. It sounds like he did, right? But in optimizing for that, he basically he basically didn't give resources to the other things that might be important in life that form a complete life.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. And in that way, society's kind of acting like that, and their metric is saving lives, right? So what spare no resource, even if it spares 5 lives, because lives are apparently the most important thing in the entire universe, according to our calculus.
And that's the thing is like, people want to say the heartbeat is the most important thing. It's like, do I want to have a heartbeat and I'm just living in my house all day, I'm locked down, or do I want to live a life? You know what I mean? Like a full life.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Imagine measuring a person's life basically based on their heartbeat, right? Depressed. Okay. Depressed. That's it. I'm on the edge of fucking starvation. Okay. It's hopeless, but you know what? That heart's beating. So
exactly.
That's good. You know what? Actually, it's funny. My daughter showed me a story about this Japanese worker who worked in a nuclear power plant, and he's been exposed to the most radiation that any human's been exposed to. And they showed the slow decomposition, okay, of his deterioration of his body. Right, at first his skin falling off in basically flopping off. Okay, his muscles, his mold is starting to grow on him because his muscles are rotting. Okay, and just in intense agony for 80 days, right? And the family insisted on keeping him alive to try to do something, and even the doctors were just like, look, there's nothing you can do, right? And after 80 days, they finally said, okay, well, that's it. But his heart was beating. His heart was beating for those 80 days, so technically he was alive. Right?
Yeah. Is that a life to live, or is that just living with a heartbeat? You know what I mean? Like it's different, man. And
what would you think about a UBI if these companies come in, decimate towns, and they basically become a monopoly on what you can consume? Okay, and then they pay a tax that then gives people more money to consume at your establishment.
So, I've had this conversation about UBI, and I think there's good points on both sides. It's like UBI itself, if you want to have UBI, you need to get rid of all social programs. I don't want to have a welfare program. There's no Medicare. There's none of this. It's just if you're gonna give me UBI, then that's it. That's all we get. That's my stance on it. I understand that automation is coming, and a lot of people are going to be basically cast out of the workforce because they do not have the skills to participate in the workforce based on the automation that's coming. Mm-hmm. But if that happens, we have to cancel all the social programs that are currently undergoing. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, I would take that on a case-by-case basis. For me, a social program is more like are the incentives for the success of the social program aligned with their sustainability, right? Like what do they tap into? And we tend to say like, okay, we'll throw money at this and do programs and academically blah blah blah, do this, right? Find some system to do this and then generate that, hands it to people. Whatever. That doesn't really create a independent that doesn't really create a multi-layered kind of organic solution to the thing. So that's it. Sometimes how do I explain this? Yeah, sometimes just the incentives have to be aligned. So it's like if you say let's take a public good, okay, and then subject it to an organism or an organization that we model after something that thrives in a for-profit arena, right? They're not built for the same thing, and a lot of times, as much as the church has its problems, but for a long time, it's been how we take care of the homeless, okay, how we educate people, our medical institutions, okay, community centers, okay, it provided these kind of services to people, right? And they were embedded in whatever way they were embedded, but they were necessary things for human, happiness or human progress. And it's just this organism took it over because they were able to motivate people to invest in this kind of exercise based on belief in some supernatural being, right? It's valid or it's valid or not valid. It got people fucking moving, right, to do these things. So that's it. It's just we tend to say okay, well, we're just going to build some kind of business-like organization bureaucracy to handle this kind of thing. And sometimes that kind of organization is just not the right solution to the problem that you're you're facing, right? And we need to think outside the box. Or sorry, things that you would normally consider outside the box need to emerge, and we need to find those opportunities. People need to find those opportunities to find the special, the fucking snowplows going like crazy, to find the fucking special relationships, you know, that could potentially exist in there around you to make these things happen. Last note on this, you know people, even myself, I've succumbed to this, right? But attempting to form intentional communities, right? Like, let's get together, let's have a community, let's make it happen. It's a co-op, everything's egalitarian, blah blah blah, right? And it's just, you kind of just artificially plunk that into an environment, and you're just like, my ideals will make it work, but it's not necessarily adapted to that environment, right? And the things that you find that are most robust, right? Because they got together based on fucking real needs and problems that exist and that will always be there perpetually to bind them, right? And yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. Fuck. You know what? It's coming up on an hour. We're gonna say our goodbyes.
That was quick.
Yeah. I just like to do an hour, right? And then do a little more chit chat, and that's it. That's it for me. My joints are smoked. But yeah. So big plans for the Twitchosphere. You're gonna keep doing panels?
Yeah. Basically, I'm all over panels. You can find me at twitch.tv/Roman.
Nice.
I play with viewers. I play a bunch of different games. I talk a bunch of shit, but
what's your favorite panel show to go on so far? Where do you have the most fun? My
favorite panel has to be Wednesday. CTV's Marvel Me with your bullshit. Okay, yeah. And that's because of that is I can freestyle, and I do a lot of rhymes. I like to rhyme. That's right. You do the freestyle. I saw you in the fucking stupid redneck get into it. Okay. Yeah. Can we freestyle?
Can I hear some stuff if that's all right with you?
I'm drunk right now, but I'll do what I can.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. I'll do what I can. So, let's see here. What do we got? Monty. Let me tell you, I got a lot of money. These girls, they call me honey. Every time I go off, I say money. Every day I sit, I say, come to me. Yo, listen up, my boys from Canada. If I think about it, I'm gonna come to you. Yo, you know what? I'm too drunk to whine.
Don't worry about it. You'll find something that fucking slaps with fucking Canada. Wanna flash some cash? Here, I'll flash this one at you.
Flash the cash, bro. I always have the cash. That's
a Rolex.
There we go, baby. There we go. Monty with the Rolex. Monty flexing on the boys. I love it. No, yeah, that's a $30,000 watch. That's nice, dude. I like that.
Yeah, it's I didn't pay for it, but I have it. So
I appreciate your flex, dude. This was a great talk. I had a good time.